allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence. Roll call.
Counselor Crum. Present. Counselor Matthews.
Present.
Counselor Coats. Here. Counselor Allen.
Here.
Counselor Sturts.
Here.
5 members are present. Counselor Chamberlain is absent. We have a quorum.
Motion to approve the previous meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Allen and second by Counselor Coats. Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Counselor Coats.
Yes.
Counselor Sturts.
Yes.
Counselor Matthews.
Yes.
Counselor Crum.
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Motion carries.
Okay, names of individuals wishing to address council. We got a nice full house here tonight. Good place to cool down. Jennifer, the Waseon Homecoming.
Yeah, we got a cracked door, so we only got 3 nuts. Push the button, the door.
I'm texting you guys out a schedule.
Yeah.
Thank you. How did this count? What I'm here tonight for is to ask you guys permission to sell alcohol at the homecoming, which is August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We have filed our F permit. We have the insurance necessary. Most of the members in the past have taken the server training. There's another one on Wednesday night, and I will make sure that the new members attend that, along with the gentleman who will be in charge of the beer garden throughout the whole event. He's attended the last couple of years, but I'll make sure he re-attends it. If you see on your schedule, there would be the use of alcohol all 3 days. Thursday, there's a cornhole tournament starting at 6:30, so that's during that, and afterwards there's a DJ. We would have alcohol for sale. And then Friday, it would be for sale during the 8 to 10 slot where we have a DJ. And then Saturday, it would pretty much be all day. We're doing a cornhole tournament at 1 p.m. We have a band at 8 p.m. So we're not really looking to close it down between there.
Location?
We're spending the last couple of years uptown at the Barber Caper Stem Robinson parking lot.
Good. I think that's excellent. That's what.
So we'll have it all snow fence, and we have people checking IDs the whole time.
Yeah, it was great last year. I mean, I actually, to be honest with you, I stood there and watched for a while to see how it was working.
Which
And
side of the bumps?
it really looked like it was working. What do you think?
Thank
Which side
you.
of the bumps?
I was on the outside. But then we did.
Well, this year, come inside.
No, we did. We went in for a while, listened to the band, but it looked fine.
Thank you.
Everything looked really good. And I think that's a great place for it.
Any other questions, comments? Let us have our wish for blessing then.
Why, thank you.
That's
There you go.
too easy.
Yeah, you did. You let me off too easy. No, thank you. Is that all?
Good, motion to end.
Jennifer, is it turning a profit?
Last year we broke even, but it was, we paid for our band even when our band actually couldn't play. I don't know if you attended the homecoming last year. We got hit by weather really bad on Friday and Saturday night. Saturday night, actually, we had to evacuate the Midway because of tornadoes. So, and it was around 7 o'clock, and people didn't come back up because the weather was just terrible. So with that being said, I think that breaking even, giving out money to a band who didn't even play was,
That was a victory.
yeah.
I agree. Thank you.
We'll okay at the end of the meeting, it's on the agenda here.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, thank you.
Carrie?
Hi, I'm Terry Humbarger. I'm the president of the New Pool for Waseon Group. I just have a statement. Following the recent discussions with community members and then the July 10th article in the Waseon Reporter, the New Pool for Waseon committee met and discussed the Plan B pool alternative. Our group still firmly believes that the site options and designs that were originally prepared by Branstetter Carroll and proposed to City Council back in 2012 are the best options for a long-lasting, sustainable pool that would serve our community and attract visitors to Waseon. But we are also aware that the location that was chosen, Dorothy Biddle Park, has not been accepted by the community. This friction over the location of the pool has created a stumbling block for our group. The main purpose of the New Pool for Waseon Group is to raise awareness and money for a new community pool. Although we stand behind the Branstetter Carroll designs and locations that were presented, we will not stand in your way of moving forward with a Plan B. Your Plan B is where our group started, and we have plans and cost estimates for a pool that is very similar to what you're proposing or suggesting. We strongly feel that to best suit the needs of the community, the Plan B pool should contain 6 competition swim lanes, 2 diving boards, a slide, and a zero entry accessibility. The New Pool for Waseon Group will continue to work towards that goal that we currently have until we hear differently from you. We look forward to seeing our kids, grandkids, your kids, grandkids, neighbors enjoying a pool in the community.
How much is it downsized, Carrie, from the original? I mean, the footprint of the pool. Is it still the same footprint?
What we had proposed, what we had gotten planned to specs on was pretty much exactly the same. You had to add the zero entry, and we wanted it back to a competition pool that you could swim.
You're talking in the northeast or the northeast corner of the park?
It was in the original footprint.
In the original footprint
Yes,
you're talking now?
Yes, the Branstetter Carroll proposal was in the northeast section.
Okay.
Because that was too big to fit where the old pool was.
Correct.
Now we're talking Plan B, a pool that would be similar size to what we had before.
And go in the
it
old
would fit
location.
right in that same location.
Our estimate at the time we got it was approximately $850,000.
And how long ago was that?
Probably 3 years ago.
Okay.
And then it ballooned up to, where'd it come up with the $1.5 million?
That's
$2.5
when we-
million project?
You know, we weren't sure if that, we don't want to pass anything on that is going to be a burden to the city. At that time, I mean, we were in a horrible economic situation, which isn't the best time to actually ask for money, but it's also not the time to propose something that's going to burden the city with a loss of $50,000 or more every year. So you go with the bigger pool, bring in others from outside the community. You know, you have a packed Biddle Park for a softball tournament. You're going to get people swimming out there that wouldn't normally come swim out there, or just across the street where they can see it from Biddle Park at the other location there in Reard. Our goal was to not pass on a burden to the city, and that's where Branstetter Carroll came in, trying to show us a way. Is it feasible to have this make money and not burden the city?
So with you moving back to the old location where the original pool was at, would you use the existing bathhouse then? Is that
Our
correct?
plan, I don't believe, and you guys may have to help me, but I don't believe that bathhouse, it needs definite renovation.
Right,
It's not
I mean-
ADA compliant. It was using the original bathhouse, but
Okay.
extensive renovation.
Well, I knew it'd have to have
Yeah.
renovation, yes.
Questions, comments?
So you'll still have the same people on the pool committee, right? But you just
We would
do-
like to. We would like to
Yeah,
help.
right, that would be
It's
good.
some of it's up to you. Is this really what you want?
No,
Do
I
you want
think-
us to move forward to that? Do you want us to stick with you? We're kind of at your direction. It's going to end up being your pool. It's your property. We just want to see a pool in the community.
Which
I'm
I
here
think you guys
because
are doing a great job.
People wanted, they
Yeah.
want a pool. And if going with the Plan B is what the people want, then
Well, I think this council's going to have to get together and talk about it. And we're going to have discuss this and make our decisions too, in what direction we want to go.
Carrie, I mean, what's your overall cost estimate now on this new location?
I haven't done new cost estimates. I mean, this was something that was brought up, within community members and, the article, and it's kind of been brought back to us. I mean, all I know is what we had originally planned. There were some obstacles, the flooding, which I know the paper said wasn't an issue. There is a small parking problem. We had originally thought there was a parking problem. I don't think any of the issues have really changed. And now you have the big Imagination Kingdom next to it that also needs parking. So I think there's still some obstacles, but
Okay. I think we take it back to council.
Have you guys presented this to the park board yet at all?
no, we did not. I mean, like I said, this was just kind of given back to us.
Okay.
I think people don't like the Biddle Park location, although I think it could be very profitable and sustain itself and not be a burden. But I truly don't think that that's the way the people in the city think, and we've heard that loud and clear.
Has that been a hindrance to your fundraising?
I believe so.
Was it the cost, the overall initial cost, as well as location? Because I think that dollar amount, like you said, when it was presented, that dollar amount was something that I don't think people felt that we could afford as a city. So
And that could be
I don't
true.
know if people have made comments.
I have
as well
heard
as
some.
location.
Correct. But, I mean, initially, we had to, at our meetings, we had to say, the location's been decided, that's not our decision. If you're here to complain about the location, then we can't do anything about it. So, I mean, we had meetings about that. We presented what Branstad or Carroll gave us, and that is what was chosen, so.
Is there I know Branstad or Carroll, they actually put pools in. And to do a feasibility study when you're going to make some money, I mean, I think, is there a way that there could have been a neutral third party that wasn't, that all they do are those studies?
I mean, we can go get cost estimates for something similar. I mean, you couldn't use the same plan, that's Branstad or Carroll's plan.
Yeah.
But we could, we could go to somebody and see how much they would cost it out at Biddle Park or the other location, and then, even the smaller one at the other old location. And that, we were not contracted with them to build that pool. We were just going on their cost estimates.
Whatever it takes to get it built and then down the road run apart, the taxpayers will be paying for it. But I mean, I talked to the mayor of Archibald, the mayor of Napoleon, mayor of Delta. Pools aren't going to make money here. So it's just how much money can we budget every year to run it and fund it. If the taxpayers so choose to pass the levy, we're moving it on down the road then. But even when Branstad was here a year ago, I said with them, I said, we're not going to make money. We're in Northwest Ohio. We're open maybe 80 days of the year, and you're going to have 20% inclement days where it's going to be closed down. And it's just a service. It's a great service for the community, and I hope it does go. But I mean, you've got a lot of hurdles to pass to do it, but it's a great deal. So. But we'll pass it on back to council and move forward.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Be permitted for me to add anything?
You can talk all you want.
Not that much. I'm Dr. Jack Ross. I've been on this committee since the day it was formed over 3 years ago. Excuse me. There are several problems involved no matter what we do with it. There's no question about that. However, if it's built in the old place where the other pool was, there will not be room for anything approaching what will be necessary to pay for itself. In our opinion, and according to Branstad or Carroll, if it's done properly, the annual maintenance will be covered by the pool costs and the concession costs. This would be a big plus for the city if they didn't have to worry about putting aside $60,000 to $100,000 every year for running it. Also, if we do it in the site of the old pool, there simply isn't room to do anything that would be adequate to attract people to it. To start with, the zero entry pool is now required. We don't have a choice. That has to be done. Ask the government about that. If you don't have some place for anybody over 6 years old to swim and dive, you're not going to get much attendance at the pool. I mean, we now have the play facility there at Reard Park, which is good for maybe up to 8 or 9 years old. What happens to anybody over that age? They need a pool to swim in, not to walk around in 3 feet of water at the most. I guess there isn't much else I have to say about it. If anybody has any questions for me, I'll try to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pardon?
I just said thank you. Moving on, committee reports. Finance.
I guess that'd be me. We met Thursday, and Jamie reported that cities, we met on 2 different things that we talked about, and Jamie reported the city's last industrial appraisals of all our buildings were done over 10 years ago here in Waseon. And she received a quote from a firm that did our last appraisal, and it was $10,875. And the company's located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We had some general discussion on this. I asked her if it would be possible to at least try to find a local company that could do the appraising so we can keep the money here in town. And she said she would. I talked to Jamie, and she said she's on it. She's made a couple phone calls, and they have not gotten back with her yet, but there possibly could be a possibility that we could have a local company do it instead of paying it out to Pennsylvania. So, I mean, I just think it makes more sense. So we tabled it for now until Jamie gets her information put back together, and then we'll have another meeting on it. The other thing that we talked about is that the bond shrinking fund. What we want to do is create a new line item for that. The state auditor's office contacted her and talked about the non-compliance of the $3 million bond that we had since 2011. The auditors expressed that the principal, the interest, and the fee should be paid from a bond shrinking fund rather than from our capital fund, which is what we've been doing. So she would like a motion, or she asked for a motion to create a new bond shrinking fund for this purpose. And we did that as a committee. We recommended that we have a new line item be put in and entitled bond shrinking fund. And that was 3 yeas and no nays on that. So we did pass that. And that was the end of our meeting. Catch it all, girls? Anything to add? Okay.
Motion to accept the finance committee's reports.
So moved.
Motion moved by Counselor Allen and second by Counselor Crum. Is there any discussion?
Is it a bond shrinking fund or a bond sinking fund?
What did I say?
Thinking.
What did I say? Shrinking?
Okay.
What was that?
Because they are. They really are.
Well,
I just didn't know. I was such
thanks for comparison.
Sorry about that, but I was reading one thing and hearing another.
Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Crum?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Well, Don, as you do pay it down, it does shrink, so.
Yeah.
You're.
Well, actually, shrinking sounds better than sinking.
Anyways, okay.
Kind of true.
Park Board Committee. Report.
Park Board met on July 9th, and there were several items that were discussed. I'll start with those. The Wings Over Waseon, Tim Sepsi came back in to give an update of what was happening with Wings Over Waseon. That's going to be at Biddle Park, July 19th and 20th. That would be this weekend. So he said everything is falling into place. The only thing he's looking into is he wanted to try to find more food vendors because he was a little worried. A couple of the wing vendors backed out. He's a little worried that if the attendance is fairly high, they may run out of food. So he was going to talk to Dave Murray and see if he had any recommendations as far as vendors that could bring some more food in. Imagination Kingdom, Dave received an email from Debbie Dykstra that the neighbors are satisfied with the noise level of the instruments now since they have been capped off. There was a lot of discussion on how we would make that permanent without gluing those caps onto the xylophone or whatever that instrument is, simply because if someday that were to be moved to another location, that would pretty much ruin that instrument. So they would be satisfied if there was just a motion made that this would be a permanent fix without gluing them in permanently. And so the park board did vote on that and recommended that this be a permanent fix. They wanted it in park board minutes as well as council minutes. So everybody voted in favor of that. Dave received 2 bids to put blacktop on the bike path at Homecoming Park. He's going to schedule that as soon as the contractors are able to do the work. And it's going to be 7 feet wide all the way around Homecoming Park. Right now it's anywhere from 8 feet to 5 feet wide. It varies. So it's going to be a consistent 7-foot path that gets blacktop there. Tennis court, half of the lights on the tennis courts have been changed, and Dave is hoping to do the rest of the tennis courts in the fall. I guess they changed them from a yellow to a white or something like that. We talked about codifying the park rules, and if you want to add anything to this, we wanted to. Chief Torbett presented a sign that had all of the rules that he would like to have enforceable through codifying the rules. No alcoholic beverages in the parks, no animals littering, motorized bikes, snowmobiles, overnight camping or parking without prior approval from the Waseon Police Department. The one discussion that keeps coming up is that the bike path is part of the park system, and so if we pass this, that automatically makes it so that if you walk your dog on the bike path, you could be ticketed. So they also wanted to discuss a dog-friendly park in the future, but the park board did approve the codifying the park rules and bringing that to council. So I don't know if we want to hang tight on that and take it back to the park board and have them define what they want as far as dog-friendly park and the ability to walk dogs on that bike path at this point.
I think we ought to put that on hold, send it back to the park board, because, like I said, a lot of people like to walk their dog down the trail. You say you're not supposed to, but yet we got racks there with doggy bags, so we're saying one thing and doing the other, so I suggest we just put that on hold. That's been that way for how many years, so what's it, a couple months, a month or so.
And then Tom, would there be a way to write that up so that we can keep the bike path exempt?
Sure.
If we put all of the parks in one ordinance, is there, or codify and make all the parks part of that ordinance, is there a way to make that bike path exempt.
Sure. I guess, is the bike path considered a park itself or part of the parks? I mean, we have Rear Park, Homecoming Park, Biddle Park. I don't really hear talk of a trail park or the trail.
No, but I think it was, at one point in time, it was combined in with the parks. And that was, I think, who brought that up? Dave.
Okay.
Because they maintain that,
But the
just
park
like they do
board,
the park.
but it's my understanding that the park board doesn't consider the bike path to be part of their jurisdiction. I mean, it's not something they concern themselves with.
Typically, no. There hasn't been any discussion about that path, but
Well, I think and it would be, maybe at some point, we need to clarify whether that constitutes part of the park system. But whichever way it is, we can either, if it's part of the park system, and council wanted to exempt the trail as part of the park system from having a dog restriction, certainly you could do that. And if it's not part of the park system, then I guess it wouldn't be an issue. And maybe somewhere you'd codify that you're entitled to do that. But we could clarify that. I mean, whether it's in their jurisdiction, they take care of it, doesn't really speak to whether, I guess, we're officially considering it part of the park system.
Because that would be all the way out to County Road 22.
Yeah,
So I think people that live out in the country couldn't even walk their dog in.
We don't consider it part of the park system for budgetary purposes.
Comes out of Public Works, doesn't it?
Well, this year is the first year it's got its own line item for O&M.
well, let me take this back then to the park board, and we'll have the discussion on why there was the thought that it was part of the park system. And then we'll talk more about the exemption, maybe forward to you what's
Sure.
recommended on that.
Sure. While you're doing that, I don't know, Assistant Chief McConnell passed to me before the meeting provision 957.01 that deals with hours of the parks. And it has a couple of provisions which may no longer be completely the best thing given the change in parks and where the activity's at. I mean, it extends the hours, for example, for Rear Park and the swimming pool and basketball courts located there. I don't know, maybe you'd want to take a look at the curfew hours and see if you want to play with those a bit. That's 957.01. Got more work.
I was trying to get rid of that. So I guess the only thing we really need to bring to council then to make a recommendation on at this time is that we put in the minutes that what Dave did with the Imagination Kingdom is a permanent fix, and that those should not be removed, those caps.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Crum and second by Counselor Sturts. Is there any more discussion? Counselor Crum?
Yes.
Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Moving on to department head reports. Chief Sluter.
Thank you. Nothing too much happened to the fire department. We'll be meeting with the fire chiefs, we'll be meeting with the commissioners in the next week to start discussing the upcoming EMS contracts that'll be due here in a year and a half. And I'll be working with Jamie on tracking some of the costs for that to make sure we're covered. But other than that, everything's running along without problem right now.
Good. Assistant Chief Bill McConnell.
Thank you. One thing that's important, it's coming up on Wednesday night here in council chambers at 7:30, is that there's going to be another Seller Server, Festival Server training. It's going to be put on by the state, the public service, the public safety department, and their alcohol division. And it's real important that anybody that's going to be serving alcohol at upcoming events such as Wings Over Waseon this weekend and the Homecoming Committee have had this training recently. So this will be the last one before Wings Over Waseon and probably the last one before Homecoming. So I think that's a rather important issue. Also, we had a call come into the city about pedestrians walking specifically on Burr Road. We've had a couple close calls on Burr roads. There's no sidewalks down there. It's a fairly rural section of roadway. The speed limit still is only 25 down there. But with all that in mind, we probably need to remind all the pedestrians that to always walk on the left side of the road facing traffic and not walk with the flow of traffic. It's just kind of the opposite for bicycles. Bicycles are supposed to ride with the flow of traffic. And also wear high visibility vests. Once again, anything that you can do to prevent an accident, walking as close as you can to the sidewalks. Generally, pedestrians have the right of way in most situations, but once again, when it comes down to the fact that a pedestrian is a couple 100 pounds, where a vehicle traveling is probably a ton to a ton and a half, I don't think I'd want to have that happen. So once again, anytime that we have those types of situations where there's no sidewalk, always walk facing traffic. It'll help you see the vehicles coming and wear the high visibility clothing if you can.
Thank you. Dennis?
A couple things. We need to have a street committee meeting. I was contacted by a member of the Downtown Merchants Association inquiring about stringing a banner across Shoup Avenue. I am not certain that, well, I don't have an example. I don't have what it's going to say. It's supposedly going to promote the downtown farmers market. But I'll let the petitioner explain that to the committee and figure out where we go from there. I'm not sure about where they want to put it exactly. He didn't relay that to me. Not even certain if it's within our jurisdiction, but we can deal with that as it comes. Also on the agenda tonight is ordinance 2013-6, which is a renewal of our franchise agreement with the Ohio Gas Company. And just to let you know, this is a renewal of the existing agreement. This September will have been in effect for 25 years. And the significant difference in this renewal is that this is going to be a 5-year term rather than a 25-year term. But there's a continuation provision in here where it automatically renews itself from year to year after the initial 5 years, with each party, the city and Ohio Gas, having the ability to opt out of it or cancel it, renegotiate it, open it up, whatever, with 12 months written notice. Fred can attest to this. Our relationship with Ohio Gas Company has always been stellar, exemplary. They are always Johnny on the spot if we have a water main situation or a sewer situation. They respond very quickly, and we, in like fashion, respond to their needs as quickly as possible if they have an issue with their infrastructure. So tonight's just, there's no emergency on this. It's just a first reading. We have time to look it over, so if you do have questions on it, we'll make sure they get answered properly. Thank you.
Jamie?
Thank you. You've heard of what I've been working on with the bond sinking fund, appraisal, and what I have. There's nothing new happening.
Okay. Tom?
Not much new to report. Continue to work on projects for most of the department heads. I would take the occasion to just point out that the homecoming committee folks, with respect to their application for alcohol use at the homecoming, this is part of the process that council set up last June when it revised the alcohol policy. And I'm only mentioning this because I know Fred has some interest in trying to tweak the policy at a later date for purposes of the fire department use. But the policy is essentially twofold, and if you've had a chance to read it, you would know this. But the policy for the park, for events at the park, council doesn't have to approve that. But for events out of the park area, like in the city streets, council does have to approve each of those applications, and the application has to be approved by several of the department heads. So that's how the policy works as it's now presented. I think what Fred is interested in pursuing at some point is, since the firemen's events are typically off park property, maybe trying to streamline perhaps the means of getting council approval and going through some of the other hoops. But in any event, just to use that as a sort of a moment of instruction or whatever on how the alcohol policy works, and that's why the homecoming folks are here tonight to get council's approval for that. Would have to do that each year before the event. And other folks that are going to have similar events on non-park city property. Did I say that right? That's kind of a mouthful.
That was a mouthful, Tom. You did good.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay. Moving on to first reading of legislation. Ordinance 2013-3, amending section 301 of the codified ordinances of the city of Waseon, definition of a compact vehicle.
First reading?
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Matthews and second by Counselor Sturts. Is there any discussion? Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Crum?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance 2013-3 passes on first reading.
Ordinance 2013-4, amending section 1303 of the codified ordinances of the city of Waseon, Pride Waseon Architectural Standards Code.
First reading.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Crum and second by Counselor Coast. Is there any discussion? Counselor Crum?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance 2013-4 passes on first reading.
Ordinance 2013-5, providing for the issuance and sale of $1,500,000 of notes in the anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of improving the municipal waterworks systems by acquiring, constructing, and installing water lines, municipal water treatment plant by constructing an additional treatment building and lagoon, acquiring additional treatment tanks, a high service pump, and additional piping, and making other necessary improvements and declare an emergency.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and declare emergency.
Second?
Motion made by Counselor Sturts and second by Counselor Matthews. Is there any discussion? Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Crum?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Motion carries.
Final passage.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Crum and second by Counselor Allen. Counselor Crum?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance 2013-5 passes on emergency and is now in effect.
Ordinance 2013-6, granting to Ohio Gas Company, its successors and signs, the right to maintain a gas distribution system and to lay, extend, maintain, operate, and repair, remove mains and pipe in through or under the streets, alleys, public places of the city of Waseon, of Fulton County, Ohio, for supplying gas to the city and its inhabitants and the transportation thereof in and through the city.
First reading?
Second.
That's a lot of words.
Motion made by Counselor Matthews and second by Counselor Coast. Is there any discussion? Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Crum?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Ordinance 2013-6 passes on first reading.
There are no second or third readings. On to new business, a motion to approve the application by Buffalo Inc., which is a Waseon Homecoming Committee, to sell alcohol to Waseon Homecoming on August 1st, 2nd, 3rd of 2013.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Counselor Coast and second by Counselor Allen. Is there any discussion?
Is this the first time that we've had alcohol all 3 nights? Because we approved,
The
2 or 3
first
years
year-
ago, we approved 1 or 2 nights, and then
Last year they had it the whole time, yeah.
all 3 nights?
Yeah, first year they thought, I think they ended up having 2 nights, but they didn't know if they'd have 1 or 2 nights.
Okay.
Counselor Coast?
Yes.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Crum?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Sturts?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Motion carries.
On the new business, Rick, you guys didn't toot your horn. You guys had a fantastic fireworks show. I'd like to commend the firemen and Firemen's Association, all the volunteers, Fred, and all you guys, for the people that watched the show. It was a dynamite show. It seemed like it was a long time ago, but we haven't met since then. But the weather turned out perfect and they did a great job. So I commend you guys for it. Good job done.
Thank you.
Is that supposed to be a fun dynamite show?
What's that?
Was that supposed to be a dynamite show? You thought?
Well, it could have been.
Wrong move.
Motion to approve the bills as presented.
So moved.
Second.
You guys want to talk? Either one of you fellows there?
Yeah.
Counselor,
Okay.
I don't know if this is the place to go, but I got a complaint against our landlord. Yeah, I live at 415 Oak Cove Street there.
That's not the place to go with it. You want to talk to Mr. Tom Hall, and he's not here tonight.
Oh,
We can't do anything about your landlord, sir.
yeah. Okay.
You confer with Tom or the police department, and then I can address all your issues.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, thank you.
Counselor Coats?
Yes.
Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Counselor Sturts? For the bills.
Okay, yes. So I'll vote for that.
Counselor Matthews?
Yes.
Counselor Crum?
Yes.
5 yeas, 0 nays, motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Counselor Matthews and second by Counselor Crum for adjournment.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Got our sequence.
Said so.